Today I'm going to talk to you and inform you about the very dangerous yet very common condition known as high blood pressure or hypertension. There are millions of people around the world that suffer from this condition, along with 85 million in the United States alone, and more than 3 million new cases are identified every year for hypertension. To start, we need to know what is blood pressure. Blood pressure is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary.com as the pressure that is exerted on the exterior walls of the blood vessels and arteries. This pressure varies and is very dependent on what work is being done by the heart at any given time, as well as the resistance of the blood vessels. According to the American College of Cardiology, hypertension is defined for medical guidelines that were recently established in November of 2017 by the American Heart Association as having a blood pressure that is no greater than 120/80. When taking your blood pressure, there are always two values given, and they are the systolic and the diastolic values. The systolic value is always the first number or top number given when your blood pressure is taken. The systolic value is taken when your heart actually beats, and it is the pressure that is being pushed through your veins and arteries, taking the blood to the rest of your body. The diastolic value is the second or bottom number provided with your blood pressure, and it is the pressure that's in the arteries when your heart is at rest and between beats. At this point, this is when the heart is filling with blood and it is getting oxygen. For your systatic range, the normal range is considered under 120. And for the range of 120 to 129, it is considered elevated, and 130 to 139 is considered hypertension stage 1, which is your first stage of high blood pressure. 140 is above is second stage hypertension, and anything that is a recording of 180 or above is considered crisis hypertension, and you need to seek emergency help immediately. The diastolic normal range is anything less than a reading of 80, and once you're between 80 and 89, you are again in the stage 1 hypertension of high blood pressure. 90 and above is considered stage 2, and the crisis mode for your diastolic reading is anything higher than 120. With all this information provided, you'll want to know how to determine your blood pressure. And there's many websites available that will show you how to do it. And practicalclinic.com gives you a detailed instruction of how you do it. The first thing you need is a arm cuff right here with a little gauge, pressure gauge that's attached to it, and a way to inflate the pressure cuff. A stethoscope is then used to listen to the arteries and the blood flowing through them. So your cuff is filled to a pressure that's greater than your systolic value, so typically around 180, and then it's gently released of the pressure until you can start hearing the blood moving in the veins. That will sound like a swooshing or a knocking noise. When you start to hear that swooshing noise, that is your systolic value that's recorded, and when that noise ceases to exist, you again look at the gauge, and that will become your diastolic value. Aside from using the doctor's office stethoscope and pressure cuff, there's other over-the-counter equipment that you can purchase to use, such as a digital reading one, which again applies the same amount of pressures and fills the cuff, and then it'll digitally read out your readings. And there's some less accurate but still useful, because it's better than nothing, wrist calculators that will determine what your blood pressure is, and you're able to check them at home. With all this information of blood pressure and how to check it, the next step that we need to determine is what causes high blood pressure. And according to the medicalnewstoday.com website, as well as many others such as WebMD, there are no exact known causes of high blood pressure, but there are many triggers or things that actually cause an increase of your blood pressure, which would obviously lead to hypertension and high blood pressure. Some of these triggers include, but are not limited to, the following list, which includes things like smoking and being overweight or obese. There's a lack of physical activity, your diet that would include too much salt, or a diet that includes way too much sugar can have an adverse effect on your blood pressure, which would be an increase. An excessive alcohol consumption will raise your blood pressure, and what the medical community considers to be excessive is more than 2 drinks a day. There's other issues such as anxiety and stress from taking college classes and doing public speaking that can definitely cause a spike in your blood pressure. And there's also, family history of blood pressure. It's very genetic oriented, or chronic kidney diseases are also a big cause in hypertension. When it comes to treatment for hypertension, there are non-medicine treatments that are prescribed. A doctor is going to tell you every time lifestyle changes will help immensely with your hypertension or high blood pressure. And first things they're going to tell you to do is to exercise more, go for brisk walks. 30 minutes a day is considered extremely helpful for your high blood pressure. They're going to ask you to, try to lose some weight and stop smoking immediately. A better diet is considered one that includes less sugar and less salt, along with more vegetables. And they're also going to, back to the alcohol intake, they're going to ask you to consume less alcohol, less than 2 drinks a day, or not every single day. There's also obviously many treatments that can be done with medicine, and most of the medicines are diuretics or beta blockers or some kind of combination of both. And most medicines for high blood pressure have been around for a long time or a while, so they do have mild side effects, but they are typically manageable, and there's many different varieties available, so that if you have a reaction to one or more of the prescriptions, then the doctor is able to find a different prescription to subscribe you. For non-treatment risks, so that means if you don't go out and try to do anything about your high blood pressure, there's many different dangerous and life-threatening things that could happen, such as a stroke or permanent blindness, along with a heart attack or heart failures or kidney failures and kidney disease. Blood pressure and hypertension are known as the silent killer, and that's because there's no real emphasis in your body that's telling you that the symptoms are there for hypertension. The symptoms can consist of headaches or nosebleeds, but that's a rarity. Most of the time there is no symptom and you just end up having high blood pressure. When it comes to prevention, the best prescription is the same as the non-medicine prescription, and that's exercise and a healthy diet. So checking and maintaining your blood pressure is very important for a healthy life. And I have to ask you, have you checked your blood pressure today? Thank you for watching and listening to my video.